let's get into OTC. So you made it through selection. You're going through the training pipeline. What's day one?
I just remember showing up and being like, man, this place is serious. And I'm like, I was so like lighthearted. A lot of that was, I think, like a defense mechanism. Like, oh, you smiling and you gotta like me, you know? But that was actually one of the only times I took a photo and didn't smile, was when we checked in that day. Because it's like, and then they get your badge, and I'm just like, in like a collared shirt, like dressed down, you know? And I was like, damn it. Looking back on it, I was like, this is the one they got. Because I smiled in every other photo, which is like kind of, you know, if you look at the wall, it's like where all the graduating classes, there isn't like a, oh, you're going to graduate 12 people per operators and direct support, like it's going to be this many. No, you'll see classes with one, you'll see two, but they have them historically across since 1970. And it's really cool to be a part of that. Once you finish, I mean, the training course, but that's only the beginning. You know,
how long is the training course?
It's about 6 months of, you know, we're very heavily focused in marksmanship and close quarters battle. So I'm really focused in hostage rescue and learning what it actually means to do a job. Like you come with your experiences and different services and different, you know, jobs, and that's cool. But if you can't let go of the fact that you're being asked to do a new one, you won't make it. And I say make it, you never make it. Even when you graduate and go across the hall, it's selection is an ongoing event.
What's the attrition rate like once you're in?
When there isn't, like, there's no metric to, it's true it only takes one person to believe in you for you to make it, like, to the next gate, you know. And but at a certain point, if everyone is unanimous, you're gone through the training course. And then beyond that, everyone's job is on the chopping block. It's yours. They're going to hand you a tool. Here's your hooligan tool, Halligan, and be the best hooligan tool carrier there is. And then slowly ask you to do more and do more as your aperture starts to open. You can see more of the room, see more of your awareness starts to pick up, because, you know, it's not, I mean, they've already selected the person. Mm-hmm. And now it's just a matter of is this like continuing to adapt and look to the environments that we're throwing him in.
So it never ends.
No, it's you struggle to be mediocre in a place like that. In the highest performing group of people on this planet in one place, and it's a lot. But it just depends on what your priorities are. What's your goals?
Where did you go?
I went to one of the Sabre squadrons. So the historics, like the history of the unit was during the 70s. There was a lot of the not kidnap for ransom, but the flights were being held hostage and airliners, excuse me. And the military, DOD was asked to, all right, here's a problem set. What's your answer, or what's your solution? So the DOD looked at the large in the 70s and were like, we got this. Maybe they could do it, and like an airline takedown, aircraft takedown, and the answer was we didn't. So, you know, Beckwith and his vision with the 2-2 SAS, you know, and spending time there, and the regiment in the United Kingdom, you know, adopted and founded what was originally, you know, the 2A and B squadron, like, and everything was built off of that. The spine is the long hallway where the 2 Sabre squadrons are off of it, but then all the support mechanisms are there too. But grown, grown to the mission. So, in the 90s, they stood up C, and, a C squadron from Black Hawk Down and Mogadishu and in that time frame. And then in the late 2009, they stood up a 4th squadron. And then we grew exponentially to dismantle caliphate in ISIS, because the whole like political environment, we can't go back into boots on the ground again and this and that. We're like, what the fuck are we gonna do? They're gonna come here and cut our heads off.
Yeah.
Like they're literally cutting Americans' heads off. Like, what are you doing about it? Well, we got these units that can you reach out, touch somebody. Okay, cool. That's great to be a part of, which I was, and but that's only one piece of it. Mm-hmm. Like we have to we underestimated them by a lot. And once we got a look under the hood, going out in early 2015, when we were going after the Abu Saif and Abu Tunisia, they the oil emir, and they were just running oil in the black market, and like they took over old oil refineries and like forced labor, and if you wouldn't work, they kill you, from the Syrian like people, and but they were also like Kayla Mueller was the last American that was alive, and we tried to go and rescue on a couple attempts, her and a few others, but we were always just a little bit, and I say it's a big moving piece to get us over into those positions and then spook them, and there's so much that goes into it, and get really one swing at it, and then you have to. Bottom line is that like it's just the pure evil, like I'm in radical extremism. Like you take Al Qaeda, you take ISIS, and then you make ISIS into the Sunni extremists, where we you govern from a political campaign promise, and you pull us out of Iraq, and 2 things happen. The Sunni extreme takes the fuck off, and then guess who hates them? Sunni, Shia, Iran. Like they come in and fill our void, where we as a country like left in 2011, 12 in Iraq. And then it's like, then it becomes this enemy of my enemy is my friend, and because everyone hated ISIS, we had to operate in that environment. I say we, as representatives of the U.S. government, battle space owners even. Our unit became battle space owners. It's like we're out there with the Syrian Democratic Forces. You got one of us and like hundreds of Syrian def, like real time, like pushing this flot, while Russia's coming from this side. Iran's just doing all its thing and trying to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. And like that's where they've always wanted to get to. And this was an opportunity they seized years ago. And the only thing that kept them from going straight to there was ISIS. And it kept them, more preoccupied, while we had to grow to the ability to hold terrain. We're the hostage direct action, like high value target force.
I didn't realize you guys were doing that shit.
Yeah, this whole boots on the ground shit. Like, so I have a very people ask me under different presidential times, what'd you think about serving under this or that? For example, I have a skewed perspective of what it's like to serve in the military during that time frame, because I got to do my job. Us in SEAL Team 6 got to go and fucking get after it, but at a certain point, we just became, well, they'll just deal with it. They got it. That button. They push that button, and we're like, pff, and there ain't no return button on there. How do you get home? There's no fucking Oh yeah, you guys got to get back. Okay, cool. And this like going and doing that mission, like it was the perfect size target for a squadron of us to just to flood, you know. And we went so deep into, we caught them with their pants down. They were literally, oh my God, the Americans are here. And I think we killed 40 of them. Like internal to the target, we probably killed 12 to 15, like close range. And then X target, they were running down the streets, dark as fuck, just shooting fucking wrong buildings and stuff, man, and just getting their jihad on. And you're like up there just like, I went back up to the roof to go throw the fast rips off the top of the roof, and the snipers are up there just filling dudes in. And I was just like, what is going on up here? It was a firefight from the moment we got in until the moment we...
What is it like when you first show up?
No encouragement, no discouragement at all. You could walk in with a broken leg and they go, color and number. You got to be standing by, ready to go when it's come in.
What was your strategy?
On the 40 miler?
Yeah.
Keep moving. Hardest thing I ever did in my life, bar none. I just gushed. Sergeant Vickers, congratulations. You successfully completed the strays of Delta Force selection and such.
What is it like when you first show up?
First show up, you get into, they give you more testing. You get more evals. They're kind of honing it down. If initially was a big broad brush type of, a screen, now they're getting you in the smaller. They're going to dial things in where they can get a better handle on what you're like as a person, what you think they're going to be like as a Delta Force soldier, Delta Force operator, and they're going to dial you in. Then you do a PT test again. You do another PT test. Day one, once the things get going, do a PT test, standard Army PT test, push up, sit up, 2 mile run. Then you do a swim test, 100 meters, fatigues and boots, which you can't bluff your way through that. You better know how to swim or you're not going to make it. And I knew that. So I trained up over and over and over. And it got to the point where I timed myself. I swam an hour in fatigues and boots because I learned how to do it, not fight the fatigues and boots, just go with you know what I'm talking about. And so did the swim test. And then that night, day one, PT test, swim test, 18-mile rucksack march.
Holy shit.
And if you don't make the cut on any of them, you're gone. I take that back. They give you a retest on the PT test. Memory serves me, no retest on the swim test and no retest 18-miler. But they were the very next day give you a retest on the PT test. And you can imagine I knew one guy that passed that, would able to pass it the next day that didn't pass it the day prior. Kind of go, how was that? But he did. He passed it the second day, but that passed it the day prior. The average guy, it's impossible after you've done it the first day, failed, and the swim test passed, and did the 18-miler and passed.
Yeah.
You try to make up the PT test the next day, and they ain't gonna happen.
Is the 18-miler, is that a land navigation thing?
No, just the rucksack march on the road.
Okay.
Through hilly terrain. Very hilly terrain.
How are you treated?
Totally, no encouragement, no discouragement at all through the whole course. And they did that on purpose to try to get you. Then once again, they put it all back on you. Don't want it like, hey man, good job. You know what I mean? Or hey dude, you got to pick up the pace of that kind of stuff. It was, you could walk in. I used to tell people you could walk in with a broken leg and they go color and number. And you'd have to have a color, and they give you at the beginning of the day, they give you a color and number, so you'd have to remember, Chartreuse 43. Chartreuse 43, show me where you're at and where you came from. This is all land nav based through serious hilly terrain. Like a buddy of mine said, there aren't mountains there, but there's some damn big hills. And that's the truth. Camp Dawson is surrounded by damn big hills.
So each point is timed.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's not the full course.
No, each
I mean,
point.
the full course is essentially
Yeah.
timed. You don't really know where exactly you're going.
No. You might have 4 points one day, you might have 6 points the next day.
How long does this last?
6 days. And then on the 7th day, you do the 40-miler. This is stress phase. Okay. We talked about the PT test, swim 18 miler. Now, after that, you get into basically, for lack of a better term, the training phase. They're going to teach you how to do land navigation. And the reason they did that used to be back in the day, you just went right into stress phase. But they found out this isn't fair because there's guys who would probably get that don't know how to do, they've never had land navigation training. So they would put you through 10 days to 2 weeks-ish, more or less 10 days of the best land navigation training in the U.S. Army. It has to be the best land navigation in the U.S. military, probably in the world. I mean, magnificent land navigation training. You had cadre living, cadre led, land navigation. It was just magnificent. Really, really good. Map reading, dead reckoning, you go hills, mountains, all that. Just really, really good training. It was superb. But it was also kind of grinding you down. So everybody kind of got to a certain level. You have a stud or whatever. He's not going to be 100% going into stress. You're going through the same hills, rocky terrain, twisting your ankle, that kind of stuff. So it's kind of taking even the studs and grinding them down a bit. So when they get ready to do stress phase, they're not on their A game. If they're lucky, they're on their B- game.
Gotcha.
And then you start stress. Stress phase is that 6 days with the 7th day being a 40 mile. And you stay out in the woods in a tent in the environment. You're eating these. You get at the end of the day, you'll get in these trucks or Humvees. At the time I did it, it was trucks. And you don't know where you're going. The guys who don't make it that day go back to Camp Dawson. The guys that make it for that day, pass, they go to the base camp. And they put up their tent. And you eat your MREs, and then you crash out, and they tell you what time you got to be up. It's on you. They're not going to wake up in the morning. You got to be, you got to get yourself up, put away all your gear, and you got to be standing by, ready to go when they come in to pick you up and take you. Then they take you back out to another point, and they, Chartreuse 43, or they're going to give you a different color and number that day. Vickers, purple 1-2, truck number 3. I jump on, and I have to remember purple, 1-2, my color and number for that day. And then you go out, they bring you out purple 1-2. Your points over there. You go over the same thing. You take it out. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm going on the map. Show me what you got. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm going. Have a good one. That's the only encouragement you're good. Have a good one. That's it.
And the 40
miler. The process. 40 miler. Now, get to that. There were people that didn't finish one day that still made the course. And you're like, how can that be? My call is, in a way, the standards are the whole grail of the unit. There's only a handful of people that have ever known the standards. I mean, that is the deepest, darkest secrets in that organization. I was in the unit for 15 years and I had no idea what the standards were. I could guess. I had no idea. Only when you got to a certain point, like the commander or the command sergeant major, or you were the selection commander or selection sergeant major, would you be read in on the T lead.
So there's only really 2 people that make the determination if you fit the standard.
Yes. Really? Yeah.
Cadre that are there don't know the standard.
They have no idea.
Shit.
Oh, I have no idea. None.
For the selection, for the guys going through selection, knows the time, then time is obvious, but they may identify something in a, would you call them a trainee?
What do you mean?
Guys going through selection.
Yeah, candidate.
So they may identify a candidate that doesn't meet the time standard. They like everything else about.
Yeah, no, wouldn't matter. If you don't meet the time standard, you could be a rock star, and it wouldn't matter.
How would nobody? It's general. It's a genuine question. I'm not like poking holes in it. I'm just trying to understand. How would more people not figure out what the time is if you could just go through the times and go, that guy made it, that guy. Obviously, it's under.
But the thing is, all you had was you. The only information you had as a cadre was your little small vision of the world. You didn't see the whole. You didn't see him at this point, this guy at this point, this guy.
So they compartmentalized.
Yeah, it's compartmentalized. only saw your piece of the puzzle. Didn't see, he was doing. You didn't see what he was reporting in. The only that got all that was the S&T Sergeant Major, who's out there running it. Yep, and running the numbers.
What
I mean, it would be something to the point that you would go walk. If you had to go up to his truck or something, you'd be like, stop, and he would put everything away. So you couldn't come up and look over his shoulders. Yeah, what do you need? I mean, it was top secret, bro. Top secret.
Do you remember your time?
40 miler, yeah, 16. Now, according to the book, according to Charlie Beckwith's book, Delta Force, you had 20 hours to do the 40 miler. Had to do 2 hours, 2 miles an hour in very hilly terrain. Very hilly terrain. Some of it on roads, some of it on trails, some of it across country. And you had to do it in 20 hours. I believe that's accurate. I think that's legit. I did 6 hours, 20 minutes. The 40 miles.
Damn. Let's move it.
Yeah. Now, dude, I know some guys who did it in unbelievable times. Unbelievable.
What was your strategy?
On the 40 miler?
Yeah.
Keep moving. Take the simplest path. Because I knew people that had tried to take shortcuts and it bit them in the ass. They got nailed in Mountain Laurel. And they completely lost track of where they're at. They had no idea where they're at. They were trapped. That was it. And they were done. They couldn't get out of it. So I would just take, there's one big hill, gigantic monster hill after you do a river crossing. It's about, I want to say it's about 25 miles in. And you got your next point is at the top of the hill. I kept it simple. I basically I did the switchback road all the way up. Well, a lot of other guys just did this number, and most of them didn't make it because they would get caught in Mountain Laurel. Well, number one, it would smoke you to death.
Yeah.
It would be so incredibly difficult to do that 25 miles into a 40-mile rucksack, and you're dead reckoning at the top of this hill. I mean, I know people that did it, but as a general rule, it was a kiss of death. But I did switchback all the way up till I could see that top road. I cut over to it, came into the point. But I just kept it simple, stayed focused. I didn't try to do anything fancy. Kept moving. I stopped one time to have a little MRE, and that was it. I kept moving the whole time. I wasn't worried about running it. I was just trying to stay positive and stay moving time.
When do you find out that you passed?
The 40 miler, when you get to the last point, they call up and they, Purple 12's here, Vickers, and they'll run the numbers. And they'll go, okay, send him on up. And you basically, and they go, okay, Vicker or Purple 1, 2, your next point is at the top of that. Basically, it was a power line clearing. And at the very top, maybe a kilometer, not very far at all, you're greeted by the SR Major and the S&T Cap or Commander. That's who greets you at the top. And if you don't make it, you go over here. If you do make it, you go over here by the fire. And they're like, Sergeant Vickers, congratulations. You successfully completed the stress phase of, Delta Force selection and assessment.
Damn.
Dude, I immediately started crying. I mean, I just gushed. And I'm sure I wasn't the only one that did that. Hardest thing I ever did in my life, bar none. Bar none. Out of 88 people that tried out, that started, 13 made it, and 11 got through OTC. So 11 guys made it through OTC, crossed the hall into one of the Sabre squadrons out of 88.
So these guys argued, and I just took the time to just focus on as many human beings as I could. They'd fucking shoot at us, we'd level it, we'd move up. They'd shoot at us, we'd level it, we'd move up.
What was the mission briefing for Tora Bora? What were you guys doing? What was the
Bin Laden's there, go get him and kill him. End of discussion. Wanted dead or alive. That's it.
How'd you insert?
Fucking Toyota trucks, man. We drove up, drop a daisy cutter. Man, I had old fucking trusty Rusty, this red fucking Toyota truck. Like, I would attract mortar fire like you read about, man. It's fucking awesome. And we just drive right up in that bitch, right into the fucking middle. We get out of the truck on my first day. I'm with this other guy. He was like a Panama guy. He was the guy that in Panama, he shot the machine gun in the barracks and killed all the guys before they got out of bed. So like he had combat before. I drive my truck to the top of the mountain, past the tanks. There's fucking savages, the tanks shooting, like total fucking chaos, right? There's press. We had a fight our way to press. We had a guy almost shoot the press. It was great. Like, this is the best thing ever, right? I'm thinking, so we get to the top of the mountain and like, we're just getting mortared like you fucking read about. And I was like, I asked that guy, I was like, is this incoming or outgoing? Like, what's on here, right? Like, why? I'm like, this is fucking great, right? And I was just standing there, right? So he kind of like backed by the truck and just left me there, right? And then like, I don't know, 10 years later, he was like, hey, remember that day on the top of the mountain? I was like, yeah. He was, yo, those were incoming, but you had such a fucking smile on your face. I was like, I asked you incoming or out. If you said they were, I thought it was like the tank fire and kicking up. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So like, and at the same time, like in the book Kill Bin Laden, like the fucking savage commander guy, I don't even remember his fucking name, but he's just like, yes, those are your men. And like, you know, Dalton Fury's like, those are my men, you know what I mean? And he's thinking, what the fuck are they doing? You know what I mean? And I'm just over there like, this is fucking great. Like the savage commander, like, your men are very brave. Like, your men are brave. Like, they fucking love me, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's kind of what it was like. Total chaos. No idea what was going on all the time. Let's just make the best thing happen right now.
So was that your first kinetic deployment?
Yeah.
As an operator?
Yeah.
Through Ranger, through SF?
Yeah.
Sounds like several years over a Delta as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how did that feel?
Fucking amazing, man. Amazing. And then like typical team shit. I got two guys arguing who's going to be in fucking charge. One's senior by time. One's actually in charge, but he's junior by time to the senior guy. So these guys are arguing. I just leave them argue. It'd be like, for a fire mission, linear sheath, fan them out, you know what I mean? Half air, half ground. I'm just fucking working it. And then it'd be like, be like, hey, they asked you for danger close. Say, hey, stop arguing for a minute. Hey, how far are we from the bad guys? 400 yards. They said 600. Yeah, send it. Get behind a rock. You know what I mean? And like I fucking drop. So these guys argued, and I just took the time to just focus and kill as many human beings as I could. Fucking shoot at us, we'd fucking level, move up. They'd shoot at us, we'd level it, we'd move up. Like, pretty simple.
Was that affecting you at all? I mean, that's your first. Let's talk about your first kill. You said you were on the 50. Do you remember it?
Yeah. Fucking McMillan 50, we shot dudes like, I don't know, 2,500 meters. The problem is like, look, this is why I'm not fucking claiming 1 million of these fucking kills, because you can't get there from here. But I'll tell you this, the motherfuckers never shot again. How do you know? Mm-hmm. So is this confirmed kills? So like, yeah, we shot people, man, with that 50. It was fucking...
2,500.
Yeah.
Shit.
First 10 days of the war.
That's your first engagement with a...
Yeah. Later, I'd have to go to Special Forces Sniper School because I thought I was going to be a sniper team leader in the unit because I'd been a sniper for so long in the unit. And like I already had kills, had a big beard. They hated me over there. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's not right. But yeah, first 10 days of the war. And then we just killed and captured so many people. Like, I don't think guys really understand, you know, the lone survivor story, right? The Taliban, you know, on the Navy SEAL team. You know what I'm saying? And then it didn't go well for the SEALs. Okay. Yo, bring 400 of your friend. Tell them to bring their fucking trucks. Tell them to bring their machine guns. And like, we would just kill all comers. You know what I mean? And you'll hear other guys. There's other times we did even more of this in Iraq. We just kill So it's like the lone survivor story. Like, I don't even understand it because we would kill hundreds of people in a fucking day. Like, yeah, show up. We'll kill you too. We don't even care. Like, I didn't understand how those things really happened. You know what I mean? Compared to my experience and what I saw. You know what I mean? And then so literally, man, I can't tell you how many days I got where we just killed so many people you can't even count.
So there's, I mean, no, basically zero rules of engagement. Just kill it and it shows up.
I used to call it State Department by wreck. I'm the fucking State Department here. I make the decisions. Kill everybody. Let's go. Yeah, I love chaos. It's my jam. I gave you chaos as my jam stick.
Yep. What? Let's talk about some of your singleton missions.
So, the first, I had to go back into Tora Bora. I had been there. The premise of going back into Tora Bora is there was a guy who supposedly his sons brought Bin Laden out. Right? They escorted him. Right? And then the goal was find him. So I had to go out alone. I was out for days, taxis, trucks, hitchhiking, whatever you want to call it. I get to the area, I had a Kent cigarette bag with a fucking, a Super 8 VHS. I think it was Super 8, or maybe 6 mil at that time, but 8 or 6 mil like cassettes in the little recorder. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. In a Kent cigarette bag and like a sat phone. And I just fucking took a cab out of Jalalabad towards Tora Bora Mountains and hitchhiked all the way till I got there.
All by yourself?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, how the fuck do you blend in?
You wear Savage stuff? Yeah.
No terp, no nothing.
Just shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? You just shut the fuck up. Yeah, and then like I had to act retarded at a couple of the checkpoints. You know what I mean? Like got the A to the chest, and it's like if I open my mouth, so that's not an option. You know what I mean? And then I just figured I'd mongoloid voice at VOM 11, so the guy's like la 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 la. I'm like, rah, 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 rah. And the guy's like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like, through the checkpoints, and that's how I got the assault force through all those checkpoints.
That was like World War II.
Pulled him out of the vehicle
And hung
him down, burned him.
Yep.
And hung him upside down naked from a bridge.
Correct. Dudes would be dumping entire belts or entire cans of Mark 19. The reactor was cleared hot, and we'd watch it, and it would just circle and just hammer all night long. In the plan was casualties. Fallujah 2004. I mean, that shit was like World War II. Like, it's not comparable.
Did you know you were going to Fallujah early on?
Maybe a month before we went on. I don't know exactly. No, maybe it was like only 2 weeks.
What was happening in theater at that time? Had we taken Fallujah yet?
So at that time, this is, I forget the month, but relatively early 2004. This is like maybe 2 or 3 months after the Blackwater incident in Fallujah. So at the time, Fallujah was surrounded by the Marine Corps.
The Blackwater incident that you're talking about for the audience is when the contractors, they pulled him out of the vehicle
and hung
him down, burned him.
Yep.
And hung him upside down naked from a...
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, that was maybe 3 months prior, but around that time. So at that time, Fallujah was surrounded by, several, is it divisions? I forget my Marine Corps structure, but they were surrounded. Literally the entire city was surrounded. But that was interesting. I mean, it was, just crazy.
Let's dive into it.
Operationally, there wasn't.
What were you guys doing?
So we were there to essentially develop targets and assist. So we ended up assisting the Marine Corps several times. There's a couple times Marine units got in trouble, and just one as an example was they were taking fire and they couldn't get the building anyways, and we had a SOFLAM. So we ended up going there and calling in CAS. But yeah, I mean, you're calling CAS in the city. Like freaking F-18s dropping bomb. I mean, it was like, Kuwait in the, turned like Nam. Like, I mean, put it this way. I'm sure like you couldn't have Mark 19s in Baghdad. In Fallujah, like dudes would be dumping entire belts or entire cans of Mark 19 rounds. I mean, if you saw someone, you could shoot them.
Mark 19, for those that don't know, is a
Automatic grenade
launcher. A can of what? 50 Mike might have 50 rounds. 50 grenades.
I think it's 32.
32.
There's two sizes of cans. I forget the larger one, but yeah, the rules of engagement. If you saw one, you could shoot them, like saw them. I mean, just it was like. I mean, at night, Spectre was cleared hot, and we'd watch it, and it would just circle and just hammer, like, all night long.
Wow.
And then it would go off station when it was Winchester, another one would come on, and just freaking keep up all night. Fallujah, there was some... you couldn't go in. I mean, that wasn't possible. So everything was done around the outside because, like, one Marine unit pushed in, I think, like 100 yards, and it was so bad. Tanks had to, Abrams had to come get them out. I mean, it was that intense.
I know who that was. He was in here for an interview.
Which one?
His name's Cody Alford. He's about.
Was he a Marine?
He talks about working side by side with you.
Okay, so that I was there.
Yeah.
Who he's directly referring to, though, is probably my buddy who's the medic that saved. He almost he saved him, and then he dumped him off, and they pushed IVs and blew out all the clotting that he had developed. I know it's a shitty story.
He said that you guys were telling them that you had never seen shit like this before.
Oh,
that was going down over there.
That was like when those guys. I assume from what I was told that it was what Somalia was like. I assume. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, they got hit hard, like hard. At daybreak, I mean, mortars, RPGs, PKMs. Yeah, I mean, it was big. And but yeah, I mean, that was again, it just that like an Abrams shooting into the city gun.
That's crazy.
It was just insane.
So what were you guys just roaming the battlefield pretty much, just killing bad guys? Or was there a very specific target set that you were after? Because it seems counterintuitive to enter a team just to roam.
We were trying to develop targets for ourselves, but you couldn't. Like, you could not fly there.
Yeah.
You could not drive in, and you could not insert a helicopter.
Well, how the hell were you guys going to develop targets for yourself?
That's what we didn't know that until we started to go through the process. But that was the intent, was develop targets. And then, spending the time there is like it's nothing we could do. I sat in on the invasion briefings and all that. Yeah, I met General Mattis, who was a legend then, let alone later. And then we were there for the big gun trade-in, to where they traded like crew serve weapons. I forget what they got, but they turned in. Basically, they DX'd their old non-working stuff. Just hilarious shit, But yeah, so I mean, we just ended up doing a lot of stuff with the Marine Corps. Just, I mean, we hit targets with the Marine Corps. So I learned a lot about the Marine Corps just working with them, that deployment.
What was your impression of them?
In short, Marines, solid dudes that get fucked.
Are they good at what they do?
Yes, but they're always doing it without the proper resources. It's almost like their command is like, we'll show you how shitty of conditions our Marines can operate in. Like, that's how.
That's a fucking shame.
That's how I felt, and I was just like I'll tell you right now, I walked out of the invasion and got up and walked out. I was pissed. I was fucking pissed.
What were you pissed about? What specifically?
I listened to the plan and I was just like, and dude, I was.
What were you pissed about though? Were you pissed that we were sending in 18-year-old kids into a fucking kill zone? Were you pissed that they have the resources they need to accomplish the mission?
I was pissed at how stupid the plan was. I was pissed that in the plan was casualties.
This was a big incident, and it's affected your life tremendously. So you say it started at 7:10 in the morning on November 20th?
Yeah.
Let's start right there. Chronological order. Let's stay focused on this topic. And just walk me through the entire day.
Yeah, so my day-to-day was going to the embassy, and showing my face and talking through if there was a meeting. There was weekly and bi-weekly, DOD briefs and stuff, but there was no mission for me there. So I just kind of try to look for work, and there's some ranges and stuff. So I was able to start, at least, you guys want to train? Anybody want to train here? And just getting, trying to get that going. And because I had all my kit stays in my ready kit bag, and I was able to. It's just like Rolling Thunder or a North Face duffel roller, and my basic go to war gear. My helmet, guns, my rifle, my pistol, my body armor, my panos, and that's your basic, assaulter uniform and stuff. And so I got a phone call that morning, the day of the attack, and the phone call went something like this, where it was someone at the agency, wanted to call to notify me about an attack they'd been made aware of that was ongoing, and it was 5 to 8 gunmen shooting up the front of the hotel, the Radisson Blu, in Bamako, Mali, and explosions, and that's what they and launched from what appeared to be embassy driver or embassy vehicles. And that was the situation report, right? And they called me twofold. They let me know, and then, but it's not like it was mob to. Really, I was the next door neighbor of the day, and they couldn't get a hold of them. So, can you also go check on so and so? We can't get a hold of them. Can you help us out? But when I'm knocking on the door of my next door neighbor, the deputy chief, he opens her. He's on the phone in underwear. And he's just like picking lint out of his belly button, and he looks at me. He's like, "Oh, I'm on the phone." I'm like, "No, there's the attack's going on. There's an attack going on right now, and I don't know exactly where the hotel is. I know it's close, and I can hear gunfire." So I'm like, "That's definitely close." And it was about 3/4 of a mile or less from my house, which are like townhomes almost. And he's like, "I'm on the phone." Yeah, I know. I'm on the phone with some of our guys in the hotel right now, staying there. To me, it made no sense why that hotel was even on there as a good place to stay. When looking at it, like, the reason they chose that hotel is not only the density of like people, Westerners. If your mission was to kill as many Westerners as you can, you could throw a stone from across the street and hit the front of the, huge front glass windows, because it's a soft target in the sense that it doesn't have any standoff. It's not in depth.
Yeah.
Like, they have all these security apparatuses and mechanisms, but like barrier, like from a vehicular assault, but it doesn't stop people from, driving by and reaching out and touching. He's like, yeah, it just kind of gives me the, and I'm like, hey man, like, give me their room numbers, their cell phone numbers. Like, he's like, why? He's like, because I'm gonna go get them. And he goes, like, record stops. Like, what do you mean? You do that? I'm like, yeah, I'm going there right now.
Yeah, motherfucker. There are Americans.
That's a start. For me, I was like, thank you, please. Now I have room number, cell phones, and now I can get on the horn with them while I'm maneuvering en route, absorbing everything as it's happening and processing to come up with a plan of action to execute. Moving to the hotel, like, we kind of drove around and got into the front instead of driving right past it, kind of leapfrogged around, dismounted, and then kind of walked up, patrolled up.
What are you carrying?
I had just a t-shirt, the civilian t-shirt, and like Prana stretchy pants.
Nice.
Sometimes, it's a Nacho Libre reference. And then just like some shit kickers, dude. And like, good thing they were pretty sturdy.
Plates, helmet.
Yeah, my regular like JPC with plates, helmet, my HK 416 with my normal accoutrement, and then my Surefire RC2 suppressor and stuff, like, and then my panos. But no more. Like, I didn't have breaching tools. I didn't have like bangs, or I didn't have all the extra little bits of kit. That would have been really nice to have. This one American just like called and said that he's trapped in a room on fire, and he's under one of the banquet tables, and they're shooting over top of him. Please come help me. So between those two calls, there's a lot of noise, and I'm like, just filter through this. Like, which one is life? That one. So threat to life. I'm like, let's focus on this one real quick. We're going in to get this Terry, the first American room, the banquet room, because it was on fire, and they were imminent life threat, right? It's threat to life of Americans. So I was like, all right, that's now the pressing start point for me. And the fact that they knew I wasn't going to go through the front doors. They shot the whole fucking place up, going in, and they aced a bulk of the people in the breakfast room, and that's where they ended up focusing their attention to get the most kills from the timing, right? So like 7:10 in the morning, that's breakfast time. To the time I entered, it was about 7:45, but I entered through a side door. I had to basically break into a side entrance, service entrance or whatever, and then work my way through all these conference area, big huge rooms on the perimeter of the building or of the hotel. And I was that opened up into the main foyer, where it was like, if you think about embassy suites, where it's like an atrium, or almost 3-sided atrium with floors all the way, it was like 7 stories, and you go into the atrium and it's like 2 spiral glass staircases kind of going all the way up on each side. It's like super exposed, and it's just like the most like overly stimulating snapshot I'd have ever taken, because I was absorbing all out front and like everywhere around me, because every corner I was the guy up front. Everything was sensory overload, and it was the smells, the sounds, the fire alarms, the smoke, the haze, the smells of death in Western dress. It was something that my brain was like, what? It was like short-circuiting a little bit, because I had become so desensitized to life and death, but in certain environments, in certain dress. And that's just, I think that's a part of a self-defense mechanism. But for one, I didn't get a chance to prepare my mind, body, or spirit for violence. which is like planning contingencies and rehearsals and that with each other and a team and a troop, and then you go out and do these things, and they're like incredible, but you buy risk with a collective experience and rehearsed like plans of action that you just in place in the unknown, right? And it's just in reactive mode, and I was fully exposed, you know, my mind, body, and spirit was, and it was just awful to see.
How many bodies were you seeing? I mean, how many people were?
A couple. When the first few were just kind of like sporadic in the foyer area, and then no, they killed 3 people total, Westerners, to include one American citizen, Anita Datar was her name, and I know that name, and I'll never forget it. Her face, and because she was the last one I needed to get confirmation on. Like, I went back to her room probably 5 times that whole day, and cleared it again and again, and then would have confirmed that she was one of the killed during the initial. They chased them through the breakfast room, people, and then they set that room on fire, and then just were stacking furniture. They were trying to burn this down, and then they chased everyone through the kitchen, and that's where Terry got left behind, the American that was in the room that they had set on fire, and he wouldn't move. He was just like froze in that, wherever he was in that room. But I kicked the doors in to him, and I mean, like, even making it to that floor to get there was this big. I was like, you cover 2, you 10 to 2, like anyone. I'm like, fucking pull security and cover me while I move, because I'm about to make a real big movement. Because I had to run out and get on this spiral glass staircase and just mad dash it, like, to get up to the floor to hold up and then bring them up. And then I went in and just went right into kicking these French doors in, and it was like a cloud. The whole room was full of just fire and smoke, and I just ran in there, and it fucking floored me, because I was like, well, I can't breathe. Imagine. But like, this mindset of like, it's a self-creating problem, man, but like, it just kept getting lower and lower to the point where now I'm on my belly, like with my gun, like low crawling, gun light, yelling his name. And I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, no one's coming. I can't see any further. And I don't know which way is the fucking door I just came from, because I can't see. So I was able to like crawl the fuck back out. And then I was like, this isn't working. At that point, I was able to, for one, like, know which direction he was, because it's a huge room. And then it lifted enough to where I was able to get deep into there, and then like pull him out by the, like, he just looked like death, man. Like, he had talked to death, and he said, "Nah, hold up," and I carried him out, you know, and loaded him up and in a car. Like, that's where it was integral for having RSO and the relationships they have, because they were working the embassy, like, drivers and stuff, like shuttles. Like, stand by, I'll let you know what I got. And then it was like, I need my fucking boys. I can't do this alone. And that empowerment, that trust is like, it allowed me to be effective, to be agile, make decisions on the ground. And what I talk about is tomorrow's, like, I watched happen, where the MARSOC cats were just being called every 5 minutes, man, on their cell phones. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, you shouldn't be in there. You're going to get in trouble. Like, you're going to ruin the platform for our source options. And I'm like, hang the fucking phone up right now. I'm like, tell that motherfucker that's a tomorrow problem. I need you here right now. Because what they're doing and what they did was cast seeds of doubt into any of the decisions that they were making. And if all of those decisions were resting on the fact that they trust me, and I wasn't in their command, but the moment from their command, 12 hours away, mind you,
Yeah.
says, well, you guys shouldn't be seen running around in full body armor. That's kind of like, oh, ruin this platform. I'm like, first of all, you can go fuck yourself. Second of all, that's a tomorrow problem. We'll deal with it. But there's lives, like, that can still be saved. Like, where the fuck, what planet are you in or on, you know? but they just casting those seeds and planting seeds into somebody that I had to be switched on and with me in this moment. And as much as I tried to say, fuck that, we'll deal with that later, started stepping for like steps and steps, become an arms display, so then I was just like, holy fuck, I feel like I'm like flat out alone in here. Even if moving with me, you're not where
You're not here.
You're too far behind. And then here, check, rock out. I was able to form a list where I have, which I wanted to show you. I started forming a list, some scratch paper I found on the ground because I didn't have a pen and paper on me. Good soldier. I had everything else, but I just found a piece of paper and can you hand me that bag? I want to show you this because it's important. Yeah, so I grabbed a scratch piece of paper from the street and started, writing down like names and room numbers in my excellent handwriting, and somehow it survived. Like it's like super barely hanging on, but this is the list that I started to form, and it started to kind of, these are room numbers and names of Americans that they were unaccounted for. And you can see that Anita Datar was on that list pretty early. I was able to get to her room pretty quick, but she wasn't there. And then
What are the scratch names off?
After I rescued them. Like going to the room and confirming that they are that person, and I think I kicked in like 54 hotel doors.
No shit.
Yeah, it was like, the master key, right here. I'll give the SEALs that, man. That whole like mule kick. That's where it's at.
Works.
It does. It saves energy. And it was like comical watching people trying to, even with breaching tools, I was like, what are you doing? What is that thing? The French, when they came, I was like, I'm like, step aside, please. I got really tired of like tying bed sheets together on like the 6th floor. Like this, my man had like 3 sheets tied together. He had a good 30, 40 feet of just drop before it didn't even touch the ground. And I was like, first of all, don't do that. I'm like hand and arm, because I don't know if you're gonna, like I said in English, but I don't speak French, and who knows if what languages they understood or spoke. But the pointy, like me saying no, and then having people like relay it. But I'm like, don't do that. For one, that's not gonna hold up. And I was like, just get yourself in your room and don't answer the door for any. It was like, all right, if I find the closest stairwell to this bank of rooms, I'm just gonna go right up this stairwell, because there wasn't an outside fire escape or roof access, because I wanted to get down and work my way from the top down. But I did a whole sweep around the whole hotel, and there was no fire escapes. So I was like, I guess I'm going. I didn't want to go up the spiral staircase, so I went to like the fire stairwell, fire red stairwells, and went to the lower floor. Like if it was 731, 26 and 18, I went to the stairwell that was going to get me closest to it when I popped out on that floor, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then when I got to the 7th floor, I couldn't get in the door from the inside because it was a crash bar, emergency exit. So I didn't have the tool or anything to like pop it from the inside, so I actually went down a couple floors and then that led me into this like outside area of the hotel. But to me, I was just still in the hotel. But at that point, I had went around to the backside of it where I went up that stairwell. And this whole wing of the hotel wasn't even on. It was like additions that they made, and it wasn't even on like the emergency exit plan or anything, like, and which I took with me to capture that how fucked up this hotel was. For one, like, this is what you have briefing on the wall here. Like, there's parts of the hotel that aren't even on this, like additions, the whole wings, and just so chaotic. And As I'm up that other stairwell, in between the 3rd and 4th floor, is when, like, I'm about here in the clearance on the stairs, and, you know, like running upstairs and then like trying to clear. And then the gunmen are like coming down the stairs, and they're on the landing, and then we like lock eyes. And I stare down his muzzle from 5 feet away. Yeah, he's like right here. And I just go, well, fuck. But I look through his, like, beyond muzzle and into his eye. I saw a change in his demeanor. I saw a shift because he was not expecting me. Big American flag, panos on my head. He's like, holy shit, without saying it. And this is all like very rapidly, but the next thing in my mind was, well, that's me. I'm fucking dead. And he cracks the first round off, and I black out for a split second. I mean, I got knocked out. Like, I thought I was in heaven or hell. And I just, like, it's all fog and haze, but like, I'm like stumbling down the stairs, and it's like almost like things are moving in slow motion, and I'm like shooting back, and he shoots like 5 more times, and they all hit like just in this concrete stairwell right around, like pop pop pop, like right, like Samuel L. Jackson, man, Pulp Fiction. And so for me, the intervention piece, like, I just couldn't see it for what it was, and I just saw red, back up the stairs, and yelled, and I actually cussed him out, called him a bunch of basic ass bitches, and I don't know where that came from, but my lungs. And then he yells Allah Akbar at me, and fucking pops the primer on a grenade, and I hear that. It's very audible, you know, time delay pop, like a Russian style grenade, the pineapple looking one. And I've heard it a ton in Afghanistan, and I know. So I was able to get an aid and get out of the way, relative cover, and that thing just bopped the fucking shit out of me. And somehow I still, there's moments of blacking out right there, or knocked, like, unconsciousness, but then coming back to, and it's just, my teeth were just fucking like loose and dangling, you know, but I was just, you know, just holding them in place. Because I was like, I'm the only person that could stop these motherfuckers. And you know, when they threw another grenade on me, I was like, fuck. I don't have what I need to deal with, like, to deal with this. I can't. They have the position of tactical advantage in this stairwell. I was like, go get any Malian security forces that you can find now and get them up here. And I said that very calmly just now. I was yelling it. And you know, basically whoever they could muster up there, I was just up and down the line. Like, this is your fucking country. These motherfuckers are right here. I was just going straight up patent speech on them. Like, and I was like, you fucking shield. They don't speak English. And I'm just like English fucking screaming, and like they're like, we. I'm like, you understand this, you know? And I was just so fucking, like, I was hurting. So I just used overwhelming violence of action to mask any of the pain I was feeling right in that moment. You take this shield and go over there, and I basically place this dude. I'm like, go over there, and like, he got to the base of the stairwell, and like, they took one shot, popped the shield from up here, and he drops it and takes it to the house. He's like, I served my country, see you later. Like, he was gone. And this was a Malian, all right, next, you know, like, get the fuck over here. And then this guy's up with a gas mask on his head and a pistol. And he's like, I got you. He didn't say that, but he gave me the look. And I was like, all right, don't let them fucking move. And then I cleared the rest of that wing, you know, kicking in every door and freeing not just Americans, but anyone at that point. I'm like, this is now, I've locked them into a position. They couldn't go any higher because it was a condo that they were trying to find. What I found out later, they had some pocket litter. They were sterile. Like, they didn't have, like, comms. They had comms, but they were burner phones, and like they had some pocket litter that had the room numbers of like in the 6 series, like 600 whatever, a bank, and that was where the Air France crew was staying. So like Air would fly in daily there, so their crews would stay in a certain wing every time, and trying to get over, just like I was, to the certain wing or bank of rooms, and our paths crossed very early in this process, and they were no longer able to. It went from killing and making as much impact as they wanted to or could, to survival and barricading themselves. French came from the assault force from Burkina Faso, the neighboring country. One of my old teammates that was embedded with them, helping them target and do things, and he hopped on a bird with like 12 of them, but when they showed up, it was like almost 1 p.m.
Holy
I ran
shit.
into the stairwell with them at like
It's like 6 hours later.
yeah, it was like 8 something. Kicked in one door in that wing, and there was a dude in Western dress just like with his shot right through his head, like, and I was like, look back at the door. I was like, there are holes in the door. Like, how the fuck did he get hit? And after I cleared the room, I was like, there's no one in here. And I kicked it in. Like the deadbolt and the throw latch both broke off the door. So like I cleared all of it, right, and cleared it out of the door frame. And I was like, it really like bothered me, not just the fact that he was like, one of the people that were innocent, the people that were killed, but like even in that, like I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, why? From a physics perspective, I was like, wait a minute. And I found out, because I went back with the FBI, almost in an unhealthy manner of times, to do my own sensitive site exploitation, but really trying to make sense of it all. I put a suit on and went back in there like every day. They were knocking on doors, and then if anyone that would answer their door, they would just, like, even just through the people, not people, but the throw latch still engaged, the hotel, right? So it like shuts in itself, and once you let it go, I mean, they would knock lightly, and this one guy, he answered the door, but just stuck his head, through the crack. He was like looking through the crack, and they just smoked him right there through the crack in the door. And when that troop came from the Burkina Faso, like, I finally was just like, all right, let's fucking go, like, and I was like, hey, here's the deal. Like, I went over there and was like to the commander, I'm like, who's fucking charge here? Who's in charge here? I'm like, here's the thing. Like, they're right here. I got them pinned down. Like, I can take you right to it. They were like, oh yeah, you come with us, but just stay in the back. I'm like, roger that. I've been up front all fucking day. I'll stay in the back with you boys. Go. And then I'm like, doing all it's taking so long. Like, it's all this commotion up front, and I'm, now I'm like, they shouldn't be, like, there's gunshots, and I'm like, who the fuck are they fighting with right now? And there's one of the Malian, like, security force dudes, like, shot one of the fucking French, like, in the top of his helmet. That was scary as shit. Like, they're down in a Salter, and they're like, oh, you guys want to intermingle in the teams now? And I'm like, roger that. And I just kept getting further. Then I'm like in the team, just flowing with them. And that's a testament to, like, the ability to not be so, like, indoctrinated and to just, it took me 2 rooms to kind of, like, adapt to their technique and not get in the way. Because at that, like, I could like fall on my sword here. You guys are doing this all fucking wrong if I wanted, but not that they were. I was just extremely grateful to be a part of any sort of, like, competent assault force. When my boys were, like, they were getting up in North Carolina, and the guys in Germany were, like, loading in the city, like, but they were 10, 12 hours away, 18 hours away. The American that was killed was in a service elevator area that a group of them, like 15 of them, like, if they would have kept going, went right, like a turn, and then freedom down a hallway, exit, freedom. They flew that kitchen into this service elevator, and there's bodies in the elevator in between the doors, like, closed on them, And then outside of it, it's all executed from like point blank range. And you can't unsee that. The smell. I gave it all. I died in that stairwell.
How did that day end? When they got to the barricade.
We killed them eventually at like, we ended up like bounding around and coming in through like a rooftop thing and then crawling down to this condo and locking them down from underneath and then below. And I mean, I think the French threw everything that like flashbang and like concussive grenades, but it was just flying right past them. And they had this corridor where they could just spray down the hallway, and then they had the stairwell. So they had them locked down. And so we couldn't come up from underneath. Like, we had to, the dude that was, the French dude was holding the shield guy. That was his job. I'm like, you're the fucking shield dude. And I was like, and he was like this young, probably 20-something-year-old kid. And I remember this because, like, he got shot, I think, through his, like, broke his hand, and then maybe got, like, shot through his, like, the superficial part of his arm or whatever, so bandaged him up. But I was like, he got within a foot of this corner where the barricaded were in this storage closet just to get close enough, but took like 7 rounds in this fucking shield from a foot away, and was balling after that. And the guys weren't dead. They threw in because the guy behind him was able to get close enough to throw on an actual like offensive like frag grenade on top of these cats, which was this huge faux pas of like, you don't bring frags on a hostage rescue, man. And I'm like, well, what about in this case? So I know that we came back, and I was able to like bring the tactical lessons learned to change the way we think and train. I mean, that's my legacy there. It's not like, to make an impact on that type of organization that is massive. And it's not like, oh, look at me. It's just like, we evolve as a fighting team. That's why it's so capable. But as a collective, still stayed in the hotel for another 3 hours, clearing the rest of the hotel, like room by room. And I didn't say, it was like 6 p.m. when I called, objective secure, one American killed, confirmed, her body, because I got a physical description from the country team, and she was one. Anita Tatar was one of the ones that were initially killed in that service elevator area. The country team's there just like waiting for me to brief them, all circled up. And I'm like, what's up? Like, tell us all about it. And people just looked at me differently after that, And I was like, what the fuck did you think this was? There's not very many of us. My operator number is 965. It's 1978. That's not me bragging. That's me just to conceptualize how small we are.
Those guys were rock stars, and in my team I had like 4 first draft picks from OTC. We were flying around in Black Hawks, smashing people up. It was everything that I wanted. And the guy that we're after pops up like this out of his, I can start to hear praying, and that's never a good sign because he's gonna clack himself off in him. So I just dump 3 or 4 rounds into him, and I get a phone call, and I was like, what do you mean Matt's been killed? And I was like, John Dunbar's been killed as well. There's a posting coming up to the unit for 1 year. Do you want to go? I was like, of course I do. So I did. They sent me over to Bragg. I lived in Pinehurst, Southern Pines, sorry, not Pinehurst. Lived in a house there, embedded myself with the squadron. I was made to feel super welcome. Like, those guys were fucking rock stars. Honestly, I've never been so impressed by a team as I have with those guys there. As assaulters, and I say this with the utmost respect to everyone else, the best assault teams that I've ever worked with, just primarily on shooting and CQB and assaulting, there's nothing on earth that compares to those fucking guys in that unit. And in my team, I had like 4 first draft picks from OTC, so they were fucking rock stars.
Shit.
Yeah, it was super impressive. I remember being humbled the first day I got there. It was like, I went and shot a Bianchi cut pistol shoot, and I was okay with a pistol. With a long gun, hold my own, But at the time, pistol shooting wasn't really something that we did that much. We didn't have red dots. Like, it was there if you needed it. It was very much a secondary mentality, whereas these guys are shooting pistol all the time. They shoot more pistol than they do rifle. So 5 meters, 10 meters, 15 starts to fall off a little bit. Now I'm back at 20, and guys, it's comedy, but they're like handing me magazines. I'm trying to knock these plate racks over, trigger discipline shit, fucking all over the place. And I was like, fuck, every day we'd have a shooting competition for the most part. Half the day would be CQB, half the day would be shooting, or we'd do some climbing or some fitness stuff in between. But for the most part, shooting and CQB was what we did every day, which is why they're so good at assaulting. They're not fucking around training guys to be JTACs or, surveillance operators or any of that stuff. They're just thoroughbred assaulters. And they are, in my opinion, the best guys that I've worked with, hands down. So it was a fucking pleasure, because I love that. I love being an assaulter. When people ask you, well, I'm an assaulter, that's what I do. I'm a CQB instructor, that was my bread and butter. So I realised very quickly that I had to up the game. So for the first 4 months, I used to turn up early at work. I used to go on the ranges on my own. I used to stay after work. On the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I'd take 1,000 rounds and I'd go on the range and I'd just press that trigger, and just learn how to press a trigger and hold the gun properly and just pistol. And I stopped finishing 6th, and then I finished 5th. After a while, I might finish 4th. Some days, fuck it, I might even come 2nd, or I might even win one, And it was just that constant having to improve. Like, that's where I really started to dial into the craft. That's where it really happened, because my pistol shooting was not where I needed to be, and I felt a lot of responsibility going over there representing my regiment in front of the unit in a team of all-stars. It's a lot of pressure. So I threw myself at it, and that, I think that gained a lot of trust and respect in the squadron, because they knew that I sucked at pistol, but I was out there fucking working to get better, and none of them made me feel like a dick. None of them, there was no ego, no bullshit. They adopted me as a brother straight away. They treated me like one of their own, invited me to their homes, met their families. Like, I was part of their team, and I am deeply grateful and deeply impressed by the organisation as a whole, but the individuals and the level of compassion that they showed me was second to none. And I'm deeply, deeply proud of my time with the guys at the unit. And, fast forward a few months, it's coming up to deployment time, and I remember one of the guys came over to me and he gave me a US flag. He's like, "You gonna wear that?" And I said, "Am I allowed to wear that?" And he was like, "Ah, fuck yeah, you are." So I put a fucking US flag on my chest and I wore that with fucking pride. It goes back to my fucking association with the United States military. I've been in those fucking fields with those Marines. I've been in those positions where them helicopters, if they don't come, your casualties don't get out. They're putting in those Pedros. They're putting in those fucking call signs on a fucking, tiny little hot landing zone. The RAF weren't coming to get us. US pilots come and get us every single time. The assets that they gave us, standing side by side with US Marines, fighting, watching each other bleed and die. Like, I fucking respect that flag to death, and I'd die for it. So to be asked if I would wear it was one of the proudest moments of my military career, and I fucking wore that with absolute pride, and I took that flag to war, and yeah, I'm proud that I did that. I've got some fucking cool pictures from it as well. It really did mean a lot to me that I got to wear that flag. And initially my deployment was kind of strange. My team went to Syria, and I didn't have permissions to go to Syria, which was a weird situation to be in. But they were looking at a different target set than the one that the UK had permissions for. Bullshit, bureaucracy, all bad guys. What's the fucking difference? Kind of was how I looked at it. So I spent all of that time working up with that same team, like for months, as tight as we could be. Those teams are way tighter than our troops, for sure. We eat together, we train together, we shoot together, we lift together, like everything together. 6-man team. I'm Bravo 6, right? So I'm Bravo 6. And they all go, and I don't get to go with them. I have to go somewhere else. So I go to Iraq. So I'm in Iraq now. My team's over there, and I'm dislocated from them. So I'm out there doing a job down in Sulaymaniyah. We're doing bits and pieces with a partner force down there, CTD, CTG, all those guys, great time. And then Troop Sergeant Major comes, and he's like, "Do you want to go to the ETF?" which is the task force. They're the ones doing the real sexy missions, right? The raids, the fucking high value targets. Not the stuff, just different from what the team in Syria was doing. This was different troop, different task, different mission set. It was really what I wanted to be doing. And he was like, I said to him, do I have permission? He's like, there's a helicopter coming in tonight. I suggest you get on the helicopter, get up there and we'll figure it out. I did. I got welcomed into the team like a fucking brother. They put me in that chew and I became just one of them. And again, we ate together, trained together, watched fucking Netflix for hours together, and then we went on operations and we fucking tore it up together. It was a really, really, probably the best deployment I've ever done. We were flying around in fucking Black Hawks, smashing people up, and it was fucking great. And it was everything that I wanted and thought that that unit would be about. The level of professionalism.
Building.
What do you think, John?
We're high.
Not only from the operators, but from the 160th guys all the way down to the targeteers. Those fucking aviation pilots are incredible. Like, those Night Stalker dudes are fucking so impressive. And it was felt really, really close. It did. I remember on one, it was the second one. It was the second job that I did with them. The troops sergeant, we've been looking at this compound, and the troops the TL of the team was like, I need you to be off the Black Hawk, and I need you to secure that window on the western side of this compound. And I'm like, roger that, Sarge. I've been in the regiment for about 7-8 years now. Like, you want me to run off a Black Hawk and just cover down on that one window? I can do that. You understand? I'm like, fuck yeah. So I do. I get out. We landed like as we're going on in infield. The DAPs are lighting up this guest house. They're like literally as we're coming in, doors are open. Like we're fucking on the ramp. On the tailgate essentially. It wasn't a little bird. It was a Black Hawk. We're sat on the edge of the bird like this. The doors are open and you can just see the whole thing. DAPs are coming in, shooting shit with rockets. So I was like, this is fucking cool. If you can take a snapshot that you do with an iPhone and just have that picture in your head, it would be like, yeah, this is cool. I come straight off the bird, straight to where I need to be. What we thought was a window was not a window. It would just look like that from the IR signature. It was actually a piece of like polystyrene, and there was a heat source coming out of it. So my aperture is not a fucking aperture. It's a fucking. So I'm now redundant. So I'm like, I need to get in the fight here. As soon as we're off, there's a gunfight happening. People are getting engaged on two-way gunfight, unsuppressed weapons going back towards the assault force. And I sort of poked my muzzle through this piece of styrofoam, right? You call it, you know, you know what I mean? They make cups out, you know what I'm talking about. So I like punched this through. It was the winter time, so they used it for insulation. In the summer, I think they pop it out for air. Punched it through, and the guy that we're after pops up like this out of his bed from no different from me to you away. 3-4 meters, and it's our guy, clear as fucking day. He's got the same shitty haircut, same scraggly beard, like, and he's got this, you see his weapons right next to him. He's got a chest rig right next to him, and he's kind of like this, between helicopters landing and me being at that aperture seconds, it's that fast. And I'm there, and I see him, and he comes up, bolt upright like that, and I can see him just about to do that. So I just dump 3 or 4 rounds into him straight away. As soon as I do that, somebody else in the room pops up, and he's now trying to get to that weapon system. So I lit this dude up as well. So this is like within the first minute of basically being there. Then a huge explosion goes off in the front of the building. This guy had brought his family into the room that he was in. He called his family out, so they ran across the frontage of the building where all the guys were stacked up. A wife and 2 kids. He brought them in, called them into the room that he was in, and then clacked himself off. So the guys are dealing with that on the front side of the building. I'm now maneuvering around the back side of the building where the rest of my teammates are, locking down the back side. And it happens, the fucking explosion, it happens, and I'm just like, fuck me, the whole wall just goes out and goes back in. You know, them slow motion, surreal moments, it was really like that. It was almost silent, but my whole team was stacked up on that. And I literally walk around the corner and it just goes. And there's a fucking whole bunch of dust and smoke. I get hit on the head with this fucking big rock. My ears are ringing. This is a crazy fucking 2 minutes. I've just jumped off the back of a helicopter, shot a couple of dudes. Now my team's been blown up. Like, this is fun. Shit. Yeah, it's crazy, mate. And what had happened is somebody in that building had clapped themselves off. There was a whole bunch of SVEST in this building. but because of the thickness of the walls, it had absorbed most of the blast, and instead of crushing on the guys or blowing the guys up, what happened is it actually just blown them out, if that makes sense. But I didn't know that. So the team leader's looking at me and I'm going, where's the fucking boys? And I'm like, I don't know where the fucking boys are. They've got to be under there. So I'm now trying to fucking dig out this rubble. There's tons of rubble here now, and I'm like, my fucking, the dudes are underneath there, my team is under there, and I'm like this trying to dig out, and I just see one of them wandering around out of the dust completely the wrong way, no helmet on, no rifle, no fockle, and I'm like, I grab him and I'm like, are you good? And he's like, I fucking think so. He's like, where's my gun? Where's my helmet? And I'm like, dude, don't fucking worry. I'll then send him over to the team leader, and then where's the other two guys? Right, there's a 5-man team, and the team leader's accounted for, I'm accounted for, he's accounted for, 2 more guys unaccounted for. And again, one of them's just like, when the dust settles, just lying there. He didn't have anything blown off. He was all as intact. He was just in shock. Pick him up, send him out, find the other dude. We recover all the equipment. It's just a fucking carnage for a couple of minutes. But it was like, because of that evening and because of those events, what happened, the squadron, or that troop in particular, really respected me. I think I earned their trust because they knew that I would do the right thing at the right time and I can perform when it really mattered, you know. We had a whole bunch of fucking gnarly fucking jobs like that. I remember one particular one where we were closing up on a compound. Again, lessons identified. This is where experience comes into play. Although I was in a team of rock stars, most of those guys had only done 3 or 4 years, or maybe 5. I'd done 8 and a whole bunch of more deployments. So I was more experienced, and I was as experienced as the team leader, but I was still Bravo 6, and I was happy to be Bravo 6. Yeah, this one fucking job we did, same thing. It's like we try calling them out, we get engaged on infill, we're not committing assault force to the building because we keep getting blown up. This is like, well, every single time we go near these buildings, they clack themselves off without fail. You could almost set your watch by it. It's that predictable. So we're going to change our TTPs and tactics. We're just going to stand off and just call these fucking dudes out. We don't need to get close on the building. We learned the lesson the hard way. Luckily, no one got hurt the first time, so we backed off. But then it's like, come out, they're like that. They start firing guns at us. It's like, cool, hit it with the DAPs. So the fucking DAPs will light it up. So same again, come out. No, they fire back. Cool, get the Ranger platoon up here. They'll fire Carl Gustav at it. Boom. And you just do this cat and mouse game until either the building's destroyed or there's no more fire. Like, we need to get the SSE. We can't just kill these people, blow the building up and leave. Like, ultimately, the minute you fire a shot at us or you don't come up with your hands out, you bought a ticket, you voted, it's only going to end one way. Like, these guys are not fucking around. You understand? But we don't want to just destroy the building, because otherwise, what's the point in us being there? We might as well have done that with a fucking 500 pounder, you know? So we need to get this fucking information. So anyway, we're going up, we're closing, and we think we're clearing this building. There's like a row of, it's all burnt out at this point, but like there's a row of rooms. We're working sequentially now. So it's my team. We're going from room to room to room, working up to this end one. And we're fragging every room now. So it's hand grenades are going into every single room. Then we put the dog in it, then we clear it, right? So this is kinetic. And I can start to hear praying. I can start to hear it. And I'm like, am I fucking losing my mind here? And I've got these peltors, over the ear peltors. So I pop my little thing out. And sure as fuck, I can hear this dude praying. And that's never a good sign, because he's going to fucking clack himself off in a minute. So I'm like, and I tell him, I was like, ah, dude, there's somebody in there. You know, peltor. And he's like, what? And I'm like, there's somebody in that room. And he's like, is there? And I'm like, I can hear him, dude. Like, that's how close we are at this point. And he's like, fuck. All right, cool. So we put the dog in. In fact, we didn't put the dog in. The dog got wind of it and fucking was in there straight away. So now we're in a bad situation, because we've got a dude in there that's definitely going to try and clack himself off, and he's 100% armed. And we've got a dog, which is part of our team, in there. So now we can't just put grenades in there. We can't just put a T-bomb or, you know, whatever it is that we want to do to it. We can't fire a hellfire at it. We don't want to lose the dog, obviously. Luckily, because they don't normally come off the bite, we got the dog off the bite. Dog comes off the bite, and then it's like, now it's posting grenades. You know, that's how intimate that is. Now to the point where it's like, we're fucking having grenades fucking thrown at this geezer to neutralize the threat, you know. But it was extremely violent, those deployments. Like those raids, it was all or nothing with those raids and that target set. It was either, yeah, they come out with their hands up, they get detained, no shots fired, all good, or it was like, they are fighting to the fucking bit of death, and it is going to go on all night, you know, to the point where it almost becomes not worth going. because we know that that's going to happen. So it's like, let's just fucking cut the comedy and just smash it with a 500-pounder and give up on this, because how many operators do we need to risk to get that hard drive or whatever it might be, you know? But we always did it and we made it work. But the level of professionalism that those guys had, second to none. So impressive, that unit. And I came back from that deployment. Well, there was some other stuff with so Matt Tomrow is a good friend of mine. He was out in Syria working his job for the regiment. He was a B squadron guy, and he was hanging around with my team. And I told you my team was over there, my 6-man team. So he used to phone me up, and the TL used to phone me up and be like, you know, oh, I've got a new Bravo 6. You're not Bravo 6 anymore. Matty's taking your spot. And I'm like, fuck, you know, like, the fuck's going on? It's just shit talking. It's all good fun. But when I got out there, he wasn't going on the ground. He was training them to do sniper shit or whatever he was doing, and the partner force. And he didn't really have that connection with Matty until I turned up. And so there's 2 Matts. One's the team leader and one's Matt Tomrow. So I kind of sat down with Matt Tomrow and I was like, well, why the fuck aren't you not going on the ground? He was like, oh, well, I just hadn't really asked. You know, I didn't want to step on anyone's toes. You know, they're doing their own thing. I said, fuck that, dude. You're an awesome operator. Why the fuck would they not want to have an extra pair of eyes on the ground? So I speak to Matt and I'm like, do you mind if Matt goes on the ground with you? Like, can you do that? He's like, yeah, fucking hell, if you vouch for him. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I fucking trust him. I'd go through the door with him. Like, that's the biggest compliment an operator can tell anyone. Like, I'd fucking go through the door with him any day of the week. He's like, yeah, cool. So he starts going out on the ground, and I was there for a while, and we did some jobs together. Then the deployment finishes for us. He stays on a 6-month rotation, and we've come halfway through his, so we do our 4 months and we go home. New squadron, A squadron come out, and it's only a couple of weeks of being back in Bragg, trying to fucking get your head around that mad deployment, and I get a phone call. And they're like, Matt's been killed. And I was like, what do you mean Matt's been killed? And I was like, Matt's been killed. Something's happened. And John Dunbar's been killed as well. I fucking couldn't shake it, man, for so long. I felt so guilty. Yeah. If I hadn't introduced him, he wouldn't have been on that fucking job, you know? That's how I felt about it. And it's taken me a long time to come to terms with that. And I know it's not that. And he wanted to be on that. He wanted to be on that fucking job. But I don't know. That's a hard one for me. Like, I fucking love that dude, you know? And I'm fucking so sorry for him and John and their families. And that fucking broke my heart, man. It really did. That caused me a lot of fucking problems for a long time. I started to drink a lot. I couldn't shake that feeling of guilt. I still feel it. Some days more than others. It was just so hard, man. We had funerals on both sides of the Atlantic. The guys from the unit flew over for Matt's. We had guys fly over for John's. It was like, it ripped our community in half, man. And I know, you know, it's what we do. But this was when I stopped running, Shawn. That explosion blew the lid off that box that I told you about before. That was real time for me. I thought all my teammates were dead that day. They weren't. I was lucky. But then when Matt died, that was it. That was what fucking tipped me. And that was 10 years of constant warfare at this time. And it all just fucking came out. And I just fucking lost it. I lost my fucking mind, dude. Finished that deployment with those guys. We buried Matt. We buried John. And then about 2 weeks after that, I went back to the UK. And then very shortly after that, I deployed back out with my own squadron. It was our squadron's time to go out. So I had no time to process that. And I got to theatre and they were like, you're going to go and be the L&O, the unit. So I was back with the unit for another 4 months, which I was fucking happy about. A little bit with A Squadron and then with B Squadron, with Kyle Morgan actually. We shared a team, we were in the same team. And I was just straight back into the fight. And I was fucking drinking hard. I was just fucking hurting. I was fucking dying inside, you know.